Assalamu alaikum. Welcome all of you. This is Ijaz Ahmed Qadri, your host for this series of episode on e-commerce policy of Pakistan. Now this is a part 2 of this series. Introduction वाली हमने एक पहला एपिसोड इसका देखा था. Now the next part 2. Although the pace of increase in e-commerce adoption in Pakistan has been encouraging over the past few years, the country still lags behind the regional and comparable economies in terms of e-commerce. Therefore, there was a need to formulate a comprehensive policy to not only provide the impetus to e-commerce but also to regulate the businesses. From commercial and technical perspective, there are 5 generally recognized classification of e-commerce. Remember always. These are the business to business, जिसको हम B2B trade कहते हैं, business to consumer, which is the B2C, business to government and government to businesses, B2G and G2B. Then the consumer to consumer, which is known as the C2C trade, and the consumer to government, C2G. तो इस तरह से ये फुल फॉर्मेशन है जिसके अंदर हम ये कहते हैं कि ये 5 जनरली रिकग्नाइज क्लासिफिकेशन है ई कॉमर्स की. तो थोड़ा सा जल्दी से इसको हम कवर करते हैं. B2B is a e-commerce between businesses such as between a manufacturer and a wholesaler or between a wholesaler and a retailer. This is the exchange of product, services or information between the businesses rather than between businesses and consumer. Then comes towards the B2C e-commerce, that is entail the businesses selling to the general public, typically through catalogs that make use of shopping cart software. Then B2G or G2B e-commerce is generally defined as an e-commerce between the companies and the public sector. It refers to the use of internet for the public procurement, licensing, procedure and other government related operations. Then C2C is a type of trade relation where both seller and buyer are consumer, and it mostly happen through online auction or trade website. E-commerce between the consumer has started picking up with the popularity of the concept of shared economy. उसके बाद हम देखते हैं C2G, that is the consumer paying to the government for the taxes, utilities and other services. इसके बाद समझते हैं key aspects concerning the e-commerce. This policy covers the following key area for creating an environment which is conducive for growth of e-commerce by addressing the main challenges faced in each area. Initially, the 5 working groups were formed by the Ministry of Commerce and Textile Commerce Division, Ministry of Commerce, for working on each of the above mentioned areas in the light of the suggestion given by the working groups. 9 policy areas have been identified in this context. In the documents with expected outcomes for facilitating the e-commerce in Pakistan. अब वो एरियाज कौन से हैं जिनको आइडेंटिफाई किया गया है अंडर दिस पॉलिसीज, उसको हम अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं. नंबर 1 इज द ई-कॉमर्स regulatory and facilitation environment, financial inclusions and digitization through the payment infrastructure development, SMEs and youth empowerment through e-commerce, consumer protection in digital environment, taxation on e-commerce activities, then the ICT sector and telecom services in Pakistan, logistics for e-commerce platforms, data protection and investments, global connectivity and multilateral negotiations. ये वो 9 एलिमेंट्स हैं जिनको इस पॉलिसी के लिए आइडेंटिफाइड किया गया. अब हम देखते हैं ई कॉमर्स रेगुलेशन and facilitation. Existing legal and regulatory environment. To understand these main aspects of this policy, Pakistan existing e-commerce regulatory framework primarily deals with the electronic transaction in general, including the payment card, internet banking, branchless banking, internet and branchless banking and payment systems operators, जिनको PSOs हम कहते हैं, payment system providers, the PSPs, ये शामिल हैं. Then the first legislation to give legal recognition to electronic documents, record, information, e-signatures, communication and transaction was the Electronic Transaction Ordinance 2002, जिसको ETO 2002 कहा जाता है. Then the e-commerce is powered by online payment system, and for this purpose, the Payment System and Electronic Fund Transfer Act 2007, जिसको हम PSEFT 2007 कहते हैं, was enacted, which provides for establishment of the operation of payment system operators PSOs के लिए and the payment system providers PSPs in Pakistan. Later, the Pakistan Electronic Crime Act 2016 PECA 2016 कहलाता है, defined offensive and prescribed punishments. Then together ETO 2002 and PSEFT 2007 and PECA 216 provide the basic of the legal framework for e-commerce in Pakistan. In addition to these main statutes, these are various regulations of State Bank of Pakistan concerning the payment cards, internet banking security framework, cyber security control, on banking electronic money institutions and branchless banking framework. Cross-border trade is controlled by the federal government through Import and Export Policy Order issued under the Import and Export Control Act 1950, and custom duty are collected under the Custom Act 1969, जिसको हम commonly Custom Act कहते हैं. Remission and receipt of the payment is controlled by the SBP through various regulations relating to the local and cross-border payment mechanism. Key issues identified under this policy. The existing law give the legal recognition to online transactions, document and e-signature and cater for essentials of the e-commerce. However, the said law will have to be amended from time to time to keep the pace with new developments as a new and innovative e-business evolves. Apart from law and regulations specific to online or the electronic transaction and businesses, other general law of Pakistan including intellectual property rights law and applicable to the e-commerce businesses just like any other form of businesses. Moreover, there are laws specific to particular sector and industries which are also applicable to online businesses. Consumer trust and confidence are another key issue under this policy, which is an essential feature of the cross-border e-commerce global practice, specifically in advanced economies including return of faulty product and re-export by the producers. The system in Pakistan does not allow supplier to re-export such products. Cross-border trade is an important feature of e-commerce. Online platforms offer the consumer goods to large consumer markets. For an export-oriented e-commerce industry, export processes should be efficient enough to process a large number of the low-value transactions. The existing system of the VBOC or the PSW does not have this efficiency. FBR Custom is already working on the national single window, which is expected to allow speedy processing of the export of consumer goods through e-commerce platform. It means कि वीबॉक के अंदर वो एफिशिएंसी या वो पेस नहीं था जो कि अब PSW के थ्रू, जो कि अंडर द WTO रिजीम, ट्रेड फैसिलिटेशन एग्रीमेंट के अंदर जिसको लागू किया जा रहा है, उसके थ्रू इसको पूरा किया जा रहा है। डिजिटल गुड्स आर द ई गुड्स इंक्लूडिंग the e-books, movies, software manual and any items which can be electronically transferred and stored. Its most advanced form is additive manufactured products, जिसको हम 3D printing कहते हैं, using the computer design for manufacturing complex machinery and electronics, etc. At present, e-goods are not subjected to import taxes, but this issue is being discussed among the developing. But this issue is being discussed among the developing countries, being the net importer of these goods. In 2018, Indonesia added electronically transmitted software and other digital product to its harmonized tariff schedules. इसी तरह neighborhood market के अंदर India is another example, are the emerging market of adopting these technologies swiftly. Freelance services providers have a huge potential to bring the foreign exchange to the country. जैसा कि पहले हमने बयान किया है कि पाकिस्तान is a fourth in the world in indicating the 47% growth of the freelance services providers. By keeping the current government objective of building the knowledge economy, digitization and boosting IT export as the focal point across all the sectors, the Pakistan e-commerce industry can develop at a rapid pace. तो इस तरह से हम ये कंक्लूड करते हैं अपना सेकंड एपिसोड इस सीरीज का, जिसके अंदर हम ई-कॉमर्स पॉलिसी ऑफ पाकिस्तान को डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। Stay tuned for the third episode of this series. See you again, inshallah. Thank you very much.